Once upon a time in our peaceful little town, I, James, was a police officer. After many years of serving my community, I retired. Today, I want to share with you a story from my past, an incident that I'll never forget. It was a sunny spring morning. I had just started my shift at the police station when the call came in. A bank robbery was in progress at the First National Bank, right in the heart of our town. My heart raced as I rushed to the scene, knowing that my training and experience were about to be put to the test. As I arrived, I saw a scene of chaos. The bank's alarm was blaring, and people on the street were in a panic. I carefully approached the bank entrance, my hand resting on my holster. Inside, I could see masked men brandishing firearms and shouting at the terrified bank staff and customers. They were professionals, and I knew it was going to be a challenging day. I quickly radioed for backup, knowing that I needed all the help I could get. As I waited for my colleagues to arrive, I assessed the situation. The robbers had taken hostages and were making demands. They wanted a getaway vehicle, safe passage, and a substantial sum of money. My mind was racing, thinking about how to resolve this situation peacefully. While we waited for negotiations to start, I decided to approach the situation cautiously. I had to establish a line of communication with the criminals, so I grabbed a nearby landline phone and dialed the bank's number. The voice on the other end was shaky, and I identified myself as Officer James. I assured them that we were willing to cooperate, but also emphasized the importance of the safety of the hostages. Negotiations began, and the criminals made it clear that they were not in the mood for talking. They threatened to harm the hostages if their demands weren't met. My heart sank, but I knew I had to remain calm and focused. A tense hour passed, and my fellow officers had arrived. We coordinated our efforts, and I continued talking to the robbers, trying to establish a rapport with them. We learned that their leader was a man named Victor, who had a reputation for being ruthless. The hostages were in grave danger. Our team decided to bring in a hostage negotiator, Sarah, who was known for her excellent communication skills. She took over the conversation with the robbers, and slowly she started making progress. Sarah managed to convince Victor that we were taking his demands seriously. It was a delicate balance between buying time and ensuring the safety of the hostages. As negotiations continued, a plan was hatched to deliver the getaway vehicle they requested. A car was prepared, but the key to the plan was to place a tracking device in it. We couldn't let these criminals escape, and this was our best chance to catch them. We had to make sure they believed we were following their orders. With the plan in place, we delivered the car to the bank, and they released some hostages. Victor was growing more impatient, and the pressure was mounting. He was becoming increasingly unpredictable. He demanded the money and threatened to harm everyone inside the bank if it wasn't delivered promptly. We had to act quickly. We prepared a bag of marked bills and delivered it as instructed. Victor took the bag, but he remained paranoid and aggressive. The situation was becoming more dangerous by the minute. As Victor inspected the money, he must have noticed the tracking device. A sudden realization washed over him, and he became irate. He ordered us to open the bag, and to our dismay, he discovered the tracking device. It was a turning point in the standoff, and the tension escalated to new heights. The robbers were now convinced that we were trying to trap them, and they threatened to start shooting hostages if we didn't provide them with an unmarked vehicle. Our initial plan had backfired, and we were running out of options. Inside the bank, the hostages were terrified, and I couldn't bear to see them in such distress. I knew I had to do something to end this nightmare. In a desperate attempt to regain control of the situation, I made a bold move. I decided to offer myself as a hostage in exchange for the safety of the innocent bank employees and customers. I radioed my fellow officers, who were just as shocked as the criminals by my decision. But it was a risky gamble I was willing to take. The criminals agreed to the exchange, and I walked into the bank, unarmed and ready to face whatever might come. As I entered, the bank fell eerily silent. I made eye contact with Sarah, and she nodded, knowing that we had to buy time for the other officers to prepare for a rescue operation. Inside, Victor was seething with anger. He had me at his mercy, and his trigger finger was itching. It was a tense standoff as I tried to maintain a connection with the criminals while ensuring that the hostages remained as safe as possible. Hours passed, and I knew that the rest of my team was closing in on the bank. We couldn't afford any mistakes at this crucial moment. Sarah's calm negotiation skills helped keep Victor's rage in check, and the hostages' lives depended on it. Outside, my fellow officers were making their final preparations. The plan was to storm the bank and take the criminals by surprise. I had to keep the situation inside under control while they executed the operation with military precision. Suddenly, a loud commotion outside the bank grabbed Victor's attention. The police had initiated their rescue plan, and it was now a race against time. The robbers panicked, realizing that they were trapped. Inside, the atmosphere was electric. Victor, still furious, began to threaten the hostages, unaware that the police were moments away from taking action. I knew I had to act fast. With a quick motion, I lunged at Victor, disarming him and knocking him to the ground. Chaos erupted inside the bank as the hostages scrambled to safety. The other criminals tried to resist, but they were quickly overpowered by the combined force of my fellow officers. The situation was under control at last. The bank robbers were apprehended and the hostages were safe. It was a moment of relief and celebration. But the real hero that day was teamwork and dedication. As I reflect on that challenging day from my past, I'm filled with pride and gratitude. It was an experience that tested the limits of my abilities as a police officer, and it was a team effort that ensured a successful outcome. The safety and well-being of our community always came first, and it was a privilege to serve them. Now, in my retirement, I carry with me the memory of that day as a reminder of the importance of dedication and courage in the face of adversity. I hope this story serves as an inspiration, a testament to the power of unity and the commitment of those who protect and serve. And with that, I conclude my tale. May you remember the importance of standing up for what's right, even in the face of danger, and the strength that can be found when we work together for the greater good.